Hey everyone, we are live. There's four of us here, but Usman just dropped out. He'll be back. I wouldn't blame him for dropping out. Gary, thanks for joining me again.
Hello.
Spend your day. This is Spend Your Day with Gary. Follow
Yeah,
Gary
I did.
everywhere.
I did a lot, many hours of Arsenal football today, and
Not much reward.
no, no.
And Alonso, thanks for joining.
Hey guys, what's up? How's the day going?
And Usman, how are you, Usman?
Doing terrible, actually.
Yeah, I know. We just said that in the green room, right? The normal reaction is say we're doing fine, we're doing great. But as you can see, Gary stopped himself and corrected himself as well in the green room. You know, um, to summarize, um, I'm doing this as my hobby. I'm not one of those YouTubers that people will say I take delight in the defeat of Arsenal. I don't take a delight in defeat of Arsenal. It's probably true. We're going to have a lot more viewers today because of a defeat. That's just the way it is. We like to wallow and talk it out. So very easy, Gary, to pick up a subject on this podcast. I'm calling it the Arsenal therapy session
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when we're in these situations, Gary, we need to talk about it, right?
Yes. I mean, I don't, do we? I guess we might have to have a positive and a negative section. I think. So, how do we want to start this? Because we can go.
Well,
I think there's a
as
big
I
section
said,
and there's a small section.
as I said, Gary, this is follow Gary Day, follow DWCC Day.
All
We had
right.
you on the
So I guess.
pregame podcast. Went to Mr. Arsenal. You were there doing the watch along, and now you're back with me to finish up your day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully,
So, yeah.
hopefully, Gary, at the end of it, we're going to feel just a little bit better.
All right. So you know what we'll do? We'll go. We'll start a little positive. We'll finish up. We'll go the other way, and then maybe we'll finish up positive. So we'll start and
Sounds
end
good.
it. End it
Sounds
on
good.
the on the positive side. Well, it was good to see Willock in the starting lineup today. I'll say that much. I did like
Yep.
to see that. I figured that's good. That means we're moving in a certain direction. Um, what else was I happy about? I think the game plan seemed to work when we actually put our foot down and decided to move forward. So when we attacked, we actually looked like something might come out of it. We might get something positive out of the game. The I don't. Yeah, I think that might be all I got. That might be all I got as far as being positive. I'm trying to reach uh, for it, but
All right.
that's yeah. Oops.
I can chime in and then I can go to
Okay.
Alonso. Positivity, I would agree with you. Joe Willock starting to get more minutes in the Premier League. That's a good thing. He's been showing pretty well in the Europa League. I believe this is me reaching again. I believe that Arteta is going to get to the point where he's going to get where we want him to get. Okay, bad step putting Willie in today. We all said that. We all saw that. Aside from the assist for the goal from Gabriel and Tony, you can chime in and tell us. Tony Turner, tell us who your man in the match was. I'm going to say right now, Gabriel was our man in the match. Where would we be without Gabriel this season? Without Aubameyang's goals, we could have been relegated last season. We don't have Aubameyang's goals this season. But with Gabriel holding things together at the back, we could be in relegation spots right now if it was not for Gabriel. So that's another bright spark this season. Um, Reece Nelson came on. I thought he was quite bright. I wanted him on about 5 minutes earlier. I was screaming for Nelson to come on the 60th. He came on the 65th minute. Um, you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little bit irritated. We're all feeling it. It's a therapy session, so we're all going to have our say. Um, and then you're hoping that we're going to get at least a draw. And a draw for me wouldn't have been good enough even today. We wanted to win. Aubameyang, I don't know where Aubameyang's gone. He's disappeared. He's trying to understand how to play through the middle again. Is that too simplistic? Because he's played through the middle before. Alonso, I'm going to turn over to you, and then we'll bring Usman in after Alonso.
So yeah, like we talk about bright spots. There weren't many today. Like you guys say, Willock was being in the run beginning really made a difference in this. I think that there's some frustrations with him, but I can see where Arteta's going with him.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of wanted Reece Nelson to start today, but he came on a little bit too late. I think that Reece Nelson has something that Willian doesn't, and that's pretty. He's quick, and I think that he messes up, but that's just a learning curve for him.
Yeah.
I think still he needs to be in the starting 11 every match to get his fitness to reach the first team football. And Aubameyang, I don't know what's going on with him. During the post show on MSNBC, they're talking about how there's something going on that we don't know about as fans,
Yeah,
and
I
who
understand.
knows if it's the pressure or if it's about being a captain and doing all that. So it's just a frustrating day for us fans, and there's no clear-cut answer what's going on with the club right now.
Yeah, Usman, can you hear me? Yeah, we can't put our finger on this, Gary. There's no way to know. They're talking about on NBC Sports. There's something going on in the background. How else can we explain it? A year to the day, Unai Emery was sacked. I'm not saying for one moment that Arteta should be sacked. My stance will stay that he should stay till the end of the season, and then we take stock. But he's not making it easy for himself, Gary.
No, he's not. I mean, I guess one before we get into a little bit more negative. I mean, we did see Nelson come on, so we did see, two of the youngsters that we wanted to see come on. So to finish up my positive end, we did see the youngsters get on the play. I think,
Yeah.
if we're going to start going a little bit negative with that, they came on, and I think some people see that as they didn't actually show up today. But I feel like the game plan didn't suit their talents, so they never got to showcase what they can do on a consistent basis. We did see some flashes there with Willock. When Nelson came on, things did kind of open up a little bit more on the team. And Willock did show when we started the second half. He did made some positive movements towards the goal. So in that respect, we did see some flashes. We didn't see enough of it. And that's kind of where the reason why their play did not look as good as it could have is from a number of players that just did not, probably don't, are out of form or just can't do what they're being asked to do or don't want to. I mean, I can pick, off the three players that kind of stood out for me as far as, what I feel are holding the team back to some degree. Willian didn't help. Xhaka didn't help. Bellerin didn't help today. Those three players, I mean, what we need to get from them, we're not getting it. Willian didn't show us that much on the offensive end. Xhaka needs to be able to push that ball forward and just won't do it. I mean, just doesn't. I mean, he had multiple opportunities to move that ball forward and just would not do it. And he's asking for people to open up and get open for him more than he is trying to actually maybe making that move forward as we want him to. Bellerin, same thing. I think we saw towards the end of that game, I want to say at least 3 or 4 counterattacks started after they touched the ball.
From Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, Bellerin or Xhaka on the ball loses it, and now we've got a counterattack going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And when we saw some crosses from Bellerin that just are not, they're just not good. And they started counterattacks as well. I mean, it's, I don't,
Yep.
we could not, Ainsley not being on the bench, I think was, I mean, I expected him to start today because of what he provided the last time he played Wolves, right? He's more of a defensive minded player, and that's what we kind of needed today. Bellerin going forward didn't offer as much as we needed to make it worth not having Ainsley even on the bench. I mean, that's hindering us. I think. I mean, if
Mhm.
Ainsley can't get on the bench in this game, when does he get on? Like next week, it's going to be even worse. There's no way we're gonna. He should be even missing that. He should be ready to go and for the next game because we're going to need him defensively for that next game, right? I mean, you can see
Mhm.
Bellerin going up there and having to deal with the likes of Hassan and Kane. I mean, that's I don't think that's a little scary thought, right? To think that that's what's gonna be coming towards the goal. Gabriel can't do it by himself. He
No,
needs a lot of
and
help.
on a day when we missed Partey in that midfield against the powerful Wolves midfield, Miss Molina said, "What the heck was Bellerin and Xhaka doing today? Them lot can only play football at Chuck E. Cheese." Tony, worst Premier League start after 10 games ever. Ever. Let that sink in. Ever for Arsenal. And shout out to the assembled, Miss Molina, Tony Turner, Adams here, Steve Denham. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope at the end of this podcast you're going to feel a little bit better temporarily. Steven said, "I swear to God, I couldn't figure out how to put you guys on, and my head's full of madness." Yeah, and it's not easy to come on and do a podcast. I don't know how other podcasters feel about it, but I don't like coming on and continually talking about Arsenal not getting there in the end, not winning the game. Couple of points, Alonso, that I've written down. We are too passive. The way we play, we're too passive. We're waiting for other players to take responsibility. We don't have any players that are going to take responsibility. We're all waiting for something to happen. We don't have those kind of players that we can rely on anymore. We used to play on the front foot. Under Arsene Wenger, we used to play on the front foot. We'd get behind, but we would recycle the ball. We'd lose the ball, we'd get it back in the semicircle, not at our own goalkeeper. In December, Aubameyang has not scored at home at the Emirates. We've lost 3 games in a row at the Emirates, and Lacazette is our top scorer on 3 goals. And finally, Alonso, I think the crowds need to come back to hold the team accountable, to hold the coach accountable. And if it's 2,000 fans, so be it. They need to come back and have some noise. Those 2,000 fans, you might not think they could create some noise, but they will create some noise, and they will hold the team accountable, Alonso.
Yeah, and it's the product that we see now compared to bad Wenger teams in the past. There's no comparison because those Wenger teams later on in his career had something going for them. They had to fight. They never gave up. They kept on going for it, and right now we don't have that. There's nobody on the field to take accountability anymore. I mean, Jock is not a leader. The only guy that I see, 2 guys I see is Gabriel and Tierney. And the rest of them, they don't know what they're doing, or they're too young to realize that Arsenal shirt means to them anymore. So there's no fight that we used to have, and that's kind of embarrassing to say now because Arteta should know what it means to be an Arsenal player because he wore the shirt and he was a captain.
Yeah.
And yet, how do you tell these guys, these overpaid prima donnas, to get their act together, and it's frustrating as a fan because you saw Per Mertesacker get out Ozil when they lost to, was this Swansea?
Hey.
Yeah. So, you don't have that anymore. And these players are joking around, laughing around, playing around on their phones, playing jokes, and it's not funny anymore because they're not winning in games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's got to be some kind of accountability on the pitch too.
Yep. Gary, so you say you had 90 minutes of rest, plus about 10 minutes of extra time.
Yeah, I towards the end of the game, I just basically saved my breath. There was nothing more I could say. It was plain to see what was going on there on the pitch. I was speechless just watching it over and over again, doing the same things over and over again. I mean, Yeah,
All right,
I mean, you
take
just talk.
up
Okay,
the,
yeah. One of the things
continue.
I was looking at one of the posts in there, and it's the difference between their goals and our goals. I was looking at Mr. Philip Howell there. My dad had a good
Yes.
comment in there. Basically, whenever we were attacking their goal, they had everybody in that box making sure that the goal didn't go through. On
Yeah.
our side, we had guys in the box, but they're all running away from the goal. I mean, if I think it's the first. Is it the first goal? I think it is. Right, the ball comes in, and I'm going to go and pick on our favorite, but Bellerin is there, gets in there, and then at some point decides he's going to back out of the penalty box. Why? I don't know. Nobody's moving towards the ball except for the other team. The Wolves, and they attack it and they get that. They get Leno makes a really good stop after the ball gets bounces off the defender, but there's nobody there to help him. So, and he's the one that actually comes up and makes the play on that shot that they put away. How can that be? He's on the ground. He makes the stop. He gets up and he's able to get towards the defender with the ball. I mean, we're talking. These are effort plays. I mean, you got to give effort. That ball goes in the box. You got to get it out of there and clear it away. We're standing around watching it, running away from it. I mean, how Bellerin plays next game, I don't know. Because that play right there that's indicative of somebody who does not want to be there. Part of his job is to defend. Actually, the whole team, the way Arteta has set it up, they all have to defend. Everybody. Even Aubameyang comes back.
Yeah.
And yet in today's game, they were all running away from their responsibilities, which the first one is to protect that goal. Leno and Gabriel were pretty much defending by themselves today. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Adam,
I dropped the link in there if you do want to join us and come in and make some sort of sense out of this. And Gary says pretty soon we'll be playing Cardiff in the championship.
I don't think we're that bad, but boy, we are trying. We're trying our hardest. I mean, we might luck up and win some games here, but yeah, no, it's a disappointing play. I mean, how he plays in the next game, it can't happen. I mean, we're in trouble. I mean, I guess the one thing, we'll probably get to it as well, is basically, the collision early in the game. I mean, we can talk about that at some point, but as far as the play, no.
And then it goes back to Arteta's favoritism towards players. I think that he still plays Willian, he still plays, Bellerin, he still plays certain players, and they're not good enough for Arsenal right now. And if he were more experimental, he'd play AMN in midfield and not Xhaka. That's just my opinion. If Party's hurt, and if he really wants to take chances, he needs to take more risks to find out what his best 11 are and go from there, because obviously there's some favorites of his that no longer need to be there anymore, and the whole Williams signing is still doesn't. I'm still confused by that,
Yeah. A lot of talk about do we have no chance against Spurs? Come on, Aubameyang has been playing football for years, and how can we trust the process when it's not working? When this is the process so far, it's a little tough. Adam, what do you think?
Hey, hi guys, how are you? I know I am starting to feel sorry for Arsenal fans now, because a lot of them are my YouTube friends. But I really do think Arsenal fans need to start accepting that this year could just be one of those years where you're just an also-ran team because they want to get to the summer to get rid of the deadwood with the contracts running out. Arteta, I do like Arteta. I can see what he's trying to do, but if you haven't got the players to do it, you're running very close to the metal, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Adam, he's addressed the defense, and
Yeah.
without the defense performing so well, our goals have dried up. We would be in the relegation zone now without
Well,
the defending that we have
I mean,
these 10 games.
during the last show, I have praised Arteta's defence. Then today, all of a sudden, that same defence crumbled, and it does give me the intention that possibly the players are starting to down tools now.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, part of me thinks when you lean on your defense, which doesn't even have the right, you don't have we don't have all the players we would expect to have on the defense, but we do have a process, a defensive process that
Yeah.
players know what to do when they get in there, and so it looks much better than it is. But we need better players. That I mean, besides
Yeah,
Gabriel and Kearney, who else? We need somebody else, right? There's still there's spots there that need to be filled with better players. Luis can do the job somewhat, but he's not a long-term solution. Bellerin is not a solution. Ainsley can only give us the defensive side of the game. So we need depth there. We don't have it. Even maybe Marie when he comes in will help, right? But
Yeah.
we don't have the depth. We don't have the players that we don't have a starting back line right now. We have two players on the back line that are kind of working, and that means that when you look at the game, where was most of the punishment coming from? It comes from the other side of the field because that's our weakest link on that side of the field as far as defense goes. So to me, I get we need to wait, but Arteta is also putting his trust in players that are letting him down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we can't wait. Arteta may not have a job.
Bellerin's letting him down. Jacques is letting him down. Williams letting him down, and those are the players that are always out there when there's an opportunity. And how if he's putting trust to them and he loses his job, that's not on the fans. That's on him. I mean, we have better solutions for some of those players. I mean, we know what we're going to get with Ainsley when he put him back there. We know when Partey's healthy. El Neni was healthy today. Many asked, why was he not playing today?
Mm-hmm. He could have been just recovering from the effects of it.
Nelson
has shown.
Yeah, I was going to announce it. Lumber Camp, where you're right, we're handing out all these records. Wolves since 1979, Leicester since 1973. These are not traditional clubs. That Arsenal should be dealing with these clubs effectively.
But can I respond to that, Ray?
Yes.
These type of facts are absolutely flawed in my opinion, because Wolves have only been in a top level for 4 or 5 years since 1979.
Yeah, but 1979 is 41. That's 41 years ago.
Yeah, but I know. But if you're not in the top flight for 35 of those 41 years ago, it's a bit flawed, isn't it? And another thing as well.
We didn't beat him in the last 2 seasons either, Adam.
Yeah, but another thing as well, because there are no fans in stadiums, I don't think there's any advantage of playing in your own stadium anymore.
There is when there's fans in the stadium.
You have fans, against the opposition. The home fans always against the opposition, and thousands of them. Yeah. That is where the advantage is, because the fans can be your 12th man.
Well, think about this. If we had fans in the stadium, Xhaka would not be playing anymore because he would have been booed off the stage.
Well,
multiple times. They've been screaming at him. Bellerin would have had people just going at him the whole game. I mean, I think they're lucky that we don't have fans in the stands, because they would be relentless, because he's, they're out there they're not doing good. Not playing that well. And I think it's not even that they're having a bad day. They're just not doing, I don't believe, what the manager wants them to do.
But the flip side to that, Gary, the flip side to that is, okay, the fans could be having to go at the likes of Xhaka, but also as well, the fans could give the mental boost to some players, in which they may need to improve their game.
Yeah.
We will never know, but we've all been fans in stadiums, and I'm sure that having 50, 60,000 fans cheering you on gives you a much better performance than having no fans.
It's a symbiotic thing. The fans feed off the team feeds off the fans. If the team does something good, the fans will get behind the team. and so on and so forth. Stephen Denham, I have a theory about the players downing tools, and I think it's so crazy, but I'm just going to float it here. I said it before to the guys backstage. I think October 4th, we beat Sheffield United. Was probably one of our better results. That was the last time we actually won a game at home against Sheffield United. 4 days later, the Europa League list is announced. Ozil is dropped. We go and lose to City on the 17th, and 3 days later, the Premier League list is announced, and Ozil's not on the Premier League list either. And I'm thinking that Ozil is such a popular character within the dressing room that the players have felt some sympathy towards that. And I hate to say the players downing tools, but they're not giving full effort. Alonso, I think you're muted, Alonso.
Sorry, yeah. So, you kind of think about what Ozil could bring to the team, with his passing ability and all that stuff. Yeah, he has his weaknesses. But, it's funny because, Arteta still hasn't mentioned why he's been mentioning Ozil or why he's not on the team, And maybe, who knows why. And another reason I have frustration with is that, why aren't the other two players being mentioned themselves, and it seems like that Ozil been thrown under the bus. And there's no really clear-cut reason why he's not even playing. So, who knows if the players have revolted against that or what, but there's got to be some kind of explanation other than, well, whatever.
Yeah. And look at all the records here. In 1977, we lost 3 consecutive home games.
Yeah, but it's not home, is it? It's not home. I'm sorry. I basically, in my opinion, every game this season has been played on neutral venues.
I mean, we'll go 50 years from now when when most of us are gone. Alonso might be still here in 50 years, right? But in 50 years, you'll have to look in the history books to 2020 and what a crappy year that was. And you'll say, well, there's an asterisk there, Adam. Well, they didn't have the fans in the grounds then, but
yeah, no, I think having home fans there is a massive advantage. That's why they claim the 12th man, but it's no coincidence that many teams' so-called home records during the COVID crisis has been very weak. When Germany started playing, many of the games, the away teams were winning. I don't know what,
Stephen Denham said we're talking about the same players every season. It's going to take a few windows yet, I think.
Yeah.
We're sticking with them. They should have been sold years ago. And we're trying to churn those players out, right? Right, Gary? And,
it should be easy. We know who they are. They should be gone. I mean, they should be gone. And you know what? And I don't think the cost should be a problem because we're wasting money anyways. I mean, we're bringing them in. We're bringing it. Why are they playing? We have enough players to play. We have enough youngsters out there that are ready to play. So there's no reason. I think if you have a job that needs to be done, you need to have somebody to come in and do it. Right? We know we need to get all the dead wood out. So you bring somebody in that can do that. Right? We didn't do that. We knew we needed defense.
Yeah.
Defensive help. We went out and we got the best that we could at the, Gabriel and Partey, right? We knew that. Same thing for everything else. We know we need to get rid of players. Right now, unless they're gone in January, right? We're just going to sit on them. They're just going to sit in the team roster, take up air, right? And do nothing for us positively.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I mean, we have the youngsters play the youngsters. I mean, like you said, we're seeing the same players doing the same things, expecting something different each time.
And
they're not listening. They're not listening to them, so maybe they are down tooling, right? Maybe that is what's happening. I mean, because you're trying to chase some points, and you're watching the players, and they could be They could give no. They don't care. They're not in a rush. There's no, this game will end soon, and it's like, you know what? Come on, they
And maybe
they seem to be content with the loss, and that's
And look,
disappointing.
James is looking forward to the game next weekend because we're like no other Premier League team. We'll go there, we'll play passively, and we won't perform.
Maybe I have a theory regarding these dead players being. Is that the club have seen the reaction because Ozil has not been included week in, week out. The social media reaction, the popularity Ozil still got within the Arsenal fan base. Now, if he did all of a sudden bring in the youngsters instead of the likes of Xhaka and everyone else, do you think those players would react exactly like Ozil, which would put the club under more pressure? And basically the point I'm trying to make is that deliberately other clubs just chuck in the likes of Xhaka under the bus until the end of the season where they can finally make changes.
I kind of feel like
I'm going around the point, but can you see the point I'm trying to make? They just writing off this season until the contract's up in the summer.
Why? Yeah, but that's just a waste, though. That's a waste of a season. You can't just stop and go. I don't think you can stop it. You can't just say, all right, we're going to put a pause on the season and then come back and then be ready to go. I feel like something positive is going to come out of this season, right? And if that means playing the youngsters and figuring out if you can use them, then I say do that, because we're not getting anything. We're getting the same things out of the same players when we have youngsters that probably deserve some time on the field because they want to play. They know how big these games are. You go into the North London derby next week. You put some of the Hell End Academy players out there. They know how big that game is. They're going to play 110% out there, right?
You want to play at that big game now.
They know that they want to play in that game, right? You put some of these other players in there. They're gonna, when things get down, they're gonna be done, right? Like today, we saw it. We're down 2-1. We make a change in late in the second half. They could be bothered. They couldn't be bothered running up the field and trying. Like, think about it. Back in the days, years ago, we're down. I think we're down a goal. Giroud comes on. We know something good's about to happen because we know what he does when he comes on the field. We scored 2 goals, I think, down a man. Because he puts us in positions. Yeah.
We also had creative players in midfield that could pick out a ball. We had Ramsey getting into the box to help Drew as well. We don't have that creative platform.
If you don't even make a forward pass, right now that's a positive for us. Just make a forward pass. When you get the ball, you get the ball and you let the defense get on top of you, of course things are going to happen. These are supposedly seasoned players. That's why they're out there. Push the ball forward. That's all. Right now, that's the least they can do. Right?
Yeah.
We're not asking them to put the ball through like 20 players. Move the ball forward. That's right now. That's as creative we can get. Right? We need to move the ball forward. That's what I'm looking for.
So my biggest deal is I think I had sent Ray a DM about Xhaka and how he messed up that one play that we're going for, and we're moving the ball around, trying to get it up front to the goal, and Xhaka messes up. The ball crumbles at his feet, and it gets stolen, and it sucks because imagine if Onene were on or Partey, that wouldn't have happened because that allows Ceballos to move around as well freely. And as I have a midfielder who's not moving up, like Xhaka does not move up. He just stays still and just does this weird passing with his left foot. So he stays stuck. He just doesn't move forward enough times. And so it's frustrating as a fan because you want the guys to move around in the midfield. You don't want them to stay stuck, or run the ball backwards or sideways, And that's and that's also hurting Ceballos. So,
Gary, Usman unfortunately had some connection issues and couldn't join us. And if anyone is enjoying this therapy session, slap a like on the video. Make 1 or 2 Arsenal fans happy here. This is what happens when you get a novice like Arteta with no managerial experience, barely 40 games into his managerial experience, and throwing him in at deep end. Yeah, he won the FA Cup and Community Shield, but that team could have won it anyways. I don't know about the team. No, the team. Yeah, he did well to win the FA Cup, and we had Aubameyang, who was. I agree with you, Adam. He had Aubameyang who was motivated to play well, win the cup for himself, and to get a contract as well. But is this what we need to maybe expect, Gary? Did we over our expectations being too high? Gary?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're talking about Aubameyang there. I mean, why did we even bring him on if we're going to do this? I mean, today there was a free kick, and he said, "No, I don't want to take it." The man hasn't touched the ball much in any of the games since the first game of the season. He has a free kick. Williams off the field, and he's passing up on it. Who does that? I mean, he kicks free kicks. I mean,
Our free kicks are terrible, Gary.
Somebody Aubameyang should get a chance. I mean, why not? He doesn't even want it. Like we want him to want the ball. He doesn't even want it on a free kick. He's the captain. He can say, "No, I got this. Let me put this on goal." Right? He's not going to head it in, so that's not really an option for us. But he could take it. I mean, why was he even standing over the ball if he didn't want it?
Goes back to me saying players are not taking responsibility, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, he's the captain. He's supposed to. That's part of the job, right? The team's struggling. We're supposed to look to someone. Can't look to Arteta. He's not on the field, right? I mean, the captain's got to be the one to do it. I mean,
I think many will remember Michael Ballack getting into a row on the pitch with another Chelsea player because he wanted to take a free kick. They're almost having fisticuffs. We're not having that at Arsenal, Gary.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
The most the most activity we're seeing is Jaga putting a hand into Tierney's chest. I mean,
yeah.
I mean that's where we are right now. I mean,
we're going over old ground.
I can come around with the fans maybe pushing the team forward, but I also feel like a portion of the fan base going to these games would be just as disappointed as they are watching it live than on TV. I mean, hopefully they can push them forward, but I would like to think that that's what would happen, but I think these players would seem like they wouldn't even take it to heart that the fans are out there screaming for them to go move forward and all of that. Because if they're not doing it, I don't know, they're not doing it now with nobody there, and these are like somebody said, these are neutral sites. These are like practice games. You work on stuff, and we're not even doing that.
Yeah, Usman said we're not even deserving to be in the conversation, Adam, for a top 4. We need to readjust our focus this season.
Well, I never thought Arsenal were going to make. They haven't got a squad for top 4 anyway. I think in my opinion, as a neutral, I think Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and Tottenham, squad-wise, is much better than Arsenal. Unfortunately, football goes in cycles. If you're as old as me, I'm in a 42 age bracket now. If you're as old as me, you realise that football does go in cycles.
Yes, yeah.
And
shouldn't our cycle be coming around pretty soon? It's been 16 years.
Well, Liverpool, it took Liverpool 30 years.
Yeah. I didn't want that answer.
Everton, the last time Everton won it was 87.
Yeah.
And they are now starting to, move on. It can't take decades, unfortunately. Man United, it's going to be a decade for Manchester United now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alonso, can you give Tashi some optimism here? Ain't watching no more games from now onwards. I'm depressed. What makes you come back for more, Alonso?
Being loyal to your club, even though they're down. I'm an Eagles fan, so it's been some rough years, and this year especially. So this year is the first year I've ever experienced Arsenal being this bad, and it's quite shocking. But if you're a real Arsenal fan, you saw it coming, and we thought it was last year, but it wasn't. And so I never been through this as an Arsenal fan, so I'm used to being in top four, winning FA Cups, and
Yeah.
I never really seen him win the Premier League before. So this is a new goal for me. So it's different. Um, you know, so all you gotta do is wait it out, because something's got to get, something's got to get, something's gonna come good out of this. So we'll see what happens. But I'm still a fan. I'm still gonna watch. It's just hard times right now.
And Brownie, I'm just looking ahead in the comments section. Stephen said, "But you're making him feel even worse for talking about 30 years. This is an Arsenal therapy podcast. We're supposed to make people feel
I know
better."
I'm making myself feel old, to be honest. I'm making myself feel old. But but that is the part. I can understand social media going crazy because many people, like what Alonso said, they've only experienced success of being Arsenal fans.
Mhm.
But I remember before George Graham, unfortunately, and it was mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it was.
and
Yeah,
I
I mean,
did notice one comment, but if Abramovich bought Arsenal, then it wouldn't be psychos. Well, it would, because you got FFP now, and when
Yeah.
Abramovich bought Chelsea, he completely changed the team in one summer because there was no FFP rules,
Pretty
and he
much,
just bought
yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
We can't forget COVID is losing clubs hundreds of millions.
Yeah,
at
and
this
we had
point in
difficulty.
time, it's-
We had difficulty moving on Deadwood as well because of it.
exactly, no club wants
No
wants to pay the wages Arsenal are paying.
Especially what we're paying. Yeah, Gary, Russ Morgan, thanks for joining us, Russ. Arteta's lucky there's no fans of the ground right now. There would be riots. Gary, what would it be like if there was a full stadium there at the end of that game?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping Brownie's right that with the fans in the stadium, they would all be trying to cheer them forward. Especially when the youngsters came on.
Yeah.
And
You would definitely
cheering
have
them
that.
forward. So part of me thinks that, but then the other part of me thinks depends on which players are out there on the field, right? Right. If Bellerin and Xhaka and Willian are out there, I don't know. They may just block it out and not give us what we want. But I feel like some of the other players would do it. I mean, there was Russ made a good point in there. I mean, we Ainsley stayed. I guess he stayed, or he wasn't sold to Wolves.
Yeah, I was coming
and now,
there.
And now he can't
Yeah.
even. Now he can't even get on the team sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that all about? I mean,
That's a strange one.
Those I think are easy things, right? We all know what Ainsley gives us, right? We knew that this type of game was going to be a defensive game with two teams that are pretty solid at the back, right? We knew that coming in.
Yeah.
So, but Cedric takes his spot. He hasn't played. It's not like Ainsley is tired or anything. Needs a rest. So he doesn't. He's not even on the sheet. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Gary, we talked about this in the pregame. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I wanted him to play today just for the fact of Wolves wanted him in the transfer window. We decided to keep him, but we can't understand why we decided to keep him now. He's not in the team.
Yeah. I mean, what's the... yeah, exactly. I mean, why is he on the team? You could have made some... Partly we were everybody's losing money. We have an opportunity to sell a player that we most of us thought we could play, we could use them. We're not playing them. So then what? So you're doing, as they say, doing things ass backwards, right? You keep a player and then you don't put him on the team sheet, so he doesn't play. So then what was the point?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
And Gary, that's how you lose. That's how you lose the dressing room. How you lose players. They play well one week, one game, and they're not in the team the next game.
Yep. And then this is going to happen to the young players as well. And that's what. So then now you don't even have a backup if you can't bring somebody in, right? Because we don't have. Well, we know we're losing money. So how are we going to bring in players if we can't sell, or two youngsters that are worthy of a spot don't want to stay. So now their depth is in trouble. Your talent drops. I mean, these are all. I don't think these are all things that are because of the inexperience of the manager and the coach. These are, I believe, things that they see all the time, right? I know Atarda as a player has seen it, right? He was at Man City. He's seen it there. They bring in we're seeing it with Liverpool. Liverpool's losing players every week, but for some reason they're still able to maintain the type of play that they want, right? Because anybody that comes in, they know what their position is. They know what the style of play is. Their talent might not be all the way up there, but they know exactly what needs to be done, right? So it might, but for us, we're a jigsaw puzzle. A lot of pieces missing. Two jigsaw puzzles are probably trying to put it together one piece, and it's not working.
I was mistaken. I thought we were that sliding puzzle. We were just missing that one tile to complete the puzzle, and we're not there.
I think we're two sets, two puzzles with lots of pieces missing from each puzzle. Trying to create one picture.
We're 3D shot. We're 3D chess, and we don't know how to play the game. I don't know how to play 3D chess. Alonso, the history of the Tottenham is about to change. Those scum are winning the trophy this year. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that.
Too early to say that.
It is too early to say that, right, Alonso?
Yeah, because as an Arsenal fan, there's some hope that he could beat the scum next Sunday. Now,
there you go, brother.
Now,
I believe you.
That's what Gary was saying.
Yeah.
About Elizabeth Niles not playing, right? Emile Smith Rowe. Okay, Huddersfield wanted Emile Smith Rowe back on loan, right? Yet Arteta saw something in him to want him to come back to Arsenal, but he's not even playing either. So I wonder why Arteta is not playing the youngsters more often if the current starting 11 aren't playing well. You know what I mean? So if he holds them in such high regards, then why is he taking more chances of playing them? I don't get his mindset. You know?
He's taking risks with the older players, but not with the younger players whose upside is so much more. Their potential is so much bigger, right? The young players, their potential is so much bigger. We saw it with Martinelli, we saw it with Saka. I feel like we have some other players in there. They don't have to necessarily be starters, but they could be serious depth players that provide the depth that we need.
Jose Nketiah as well, and it's just frustrating, man. It really is, because Arteta wants to hold on to something that he can't let go of. Seems like, like William. Like, why did we sign this guy? I mean, this guy does nothing for us.
Yeah, he signed him because he had Premier League experience and he tried to keep some money in the bank for Partey as well. I mean, that's what I think. I'm not saying it's right. I think he was going to do something for us offensively. Gary, how many players are going to knock on the manager's door in January and want to leave?
Besides Aubameyang, I don't know.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles?
Well, I mean, where is he? I don't even know where he is with his contract, but I mean, there's no, unless things change, which we keep saying every week, unless something changes, yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. He's not going to only lose the players whose contracts end. He's going to lose the players whose confidence he's lost. He doesn't have confidence in them. They may not have confidence in him. I mean, think about it. It goes both ways. He doesn't play them, so he doesn't have confidence in them. They don't have confidence in the team because they don't see a future for them. So then it's easier. Ainsley will get picked up by a team, so that's not a problem.
England international.
I think that is a wasted opportunity there, right? Yeah. I mean, we need him for one, depth, two, because he's actually got pretty good at the defense, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's number one on his team sheet of what do we need to do today? We need to play some good defense. He answers that question.
Yeah,
But
today
yet can't get on the field.
Yeah, today we're playing a Wolves team, a very rigid and structured team. I thought we were the same. They beat us one goal better out of 3. Adam Norma said Arteta out, Poch in, and
Can you imagine the reaction that would bring?
we all thought that Poch was waiting around for Ole's job, but we can't really laugh at United anymore.
He's going to have to take a job soon, isn't he? For his credibility.
Well, just think about it. He, if Arsenal had a strong management team, they wouldn't even care what the fans thought, right? We don't have that strong of a management team that could actually say, you know what, I could pick the worst coach you can think of in terms of how the fans feel about it. But if he can coach my team, then we're gonna sign him as a management team. That's what I would. We don't have that. I don't think anybody thinks like our management, the way they're structured, actually knows what they're doing and can do a good job, no matter who they bring in. Right? You bring in Arteta, you don't support him, and I don't mean monetarily. I mean just he doesn't have management above him, beside him that works. Right? If he did, then he would be getting the players that he needs, and it doesn't have to be Partey for 50 million. It could be 2 players for 25. Right? We can spend 50 on one player. You can definitely spend 25 for 2 and get what we want out of them. So it's a whole structural thing, and it always comes back starts from the top, trickles down, and this is what we're seeing. An owner who doesn't care, a management team that doesn't know what they're doing, a manager, coach who's still learning on the job, assistants that I don't know are supporting him as well as he needs, players that don't give him 100%. I mean, you name it, we got it all here. We got to, we just hit the jackpot.
As Arsenal fans, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's past his time now, but David O'Leary is a club ambassador within the club, so he's already in, the circle. Would he, going into like a coaching role, would he help Arteta? Could that be the way to go?
He was ran out of being a board member by Raul before Raul got ousted as well.
But he's still within the club,
Yeah.
That could be the way forward.
I don't think David O'Leary is not part of the club yet. He was invited on to be a part of the board, but that was not ratified by Raul before Tim Lewis got to Raul. So there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke in this club, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to see one shining light come out of this thing, and I'm not seeing it. I mean, it's I'd like to see, like I said, just give me one little change. I talk about this every week. Give me one little change from the last game so I can feel positive that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we didn't see it today. I mean, actually, we did see it today, but we got Willock there, and as I was watching the watch along with Sam. I don't know if he's still in the chat, and the one thing he was commenting on is that you got Willock in there, and then you've got Ceballos and Xhaka 30 yards away from him. So he's out. He's stuck. There's no way he's getting any service. Yeah. So basically, he disappeared in most of the game. That doesn't help. If you bring him on, he can't get any service. So then that means that you're shutting off, the one person that's probably going to feed your front line. One of the people there. So, that's got to be structural, right? Or the players can't perform, right? I always say, either you're coaching it or you're letting it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it? Is he coaching them? Is he coaching them to stop moving the ball forward and go backwards? Or are they just doing it on their self and not being punished for it?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Stephen Denham. He's actually doing some great moderating work for us. So if anyone sees any shenanigans in the chat section, Stephen, if it was up to me, I would hide all of Tony's posts. Go ahead and do it right now, Stephen. Take them out. Take them all out.
Oh
That's
man,
funny.
and, and there's a Russ. I don't know if you got L. You did bring it in.
Yes,
I
let's
was
do this one
actually
then.
against that, but if he's not going to provide anything, what are we going to miss? What are we going to miss if he's not out there?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe one of the youngsters will run after one of those balls and do something with it, because he's not out. He can't do it.
Like in Cynthia, man.
Well, I don't want
You
to.
know
I
what?
want Balogun actually. I think Balogun will be the one that could actually do something. I think we've seen what Eddie can do.
What's wrong with a young, hungry striker who wants to make a name for himself, who knows what he's doing in the box and can get shots away? What's wrong with that?
Can you imagine a reaction from the fan base if he was dropped?
I don't think you would have a reaction too much at this point in time. I mean, let's throw it at people in the comments.
What are we seeing right now that would lead you to think that Balogun going out there making runs is going to be a negative?
Oh no, I agree with you. I agree with you. It does come across as if he thinks he's going to start every game. But that mindset is totally wrong. But unfortunately, the social media world will crucify Arteta if, for example, he dropped him and they lost the game.
But you know what? We're losing him now. We're losing him now with him out there. So
fair point.
So when somebody says, "Oh, you're dropping Aubameyang," and if we were tying games and we dropped Aubameyang and then we lost, I would go, "All right, I get it." But we are losing with him out there. So he definitely needs to step away, or he needs to someone was saying maybe he should play in the Europa League for a couple of games to get his to get something back, right? To get that feeling back, that get old feeling back that he's going to want to show up. I mean, whatever that we're doing isn't working for him. It wasn't working for Lacazette. We're seeing him drop. We need to make some sort of change. I mean, we see strikers take a rest once in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is one.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me know. Let me know, everyone, in the comment section what you think. Should we drop Aubameyang for a game or two, Gary?
I mean, I'm up for that. If I like to see Balogun get into the team sheet. Definitely. I mean, I feel like we need to go young. I don't think Arteta is a manager with the experience to be able to handle that. But that's what I would like to see. I mean, you put a seasoned manager in there, he's going to be able to do that, right? I mean, if David O'Leary is that, if he's that kind of person that sits in the managerial level at Arsenal and can direct them a little bit better than where we are, that's what we need. But we're lacking in all levels, right? Starting from the top all the way down to the bottom. I mean, we've got some potential with the youngsters, and that's the part that I want to see, because they can show us something that the other players can't. All right.
Okay,
I mean,
guys.
What would you do, Adam? Would you drop Alba?
Me?
Yeah, Alonso.
Yeah. So I would drop Aubameyang, and I would drop Lacazette, and I would bring in Eddie Nketiah and Balogun. To play both of them.
Balogun, right?
Yeah, to up front. I think they both add movement. I think they can both work well together, and I think but the formation has to work for them to succeed too. You gotta have a quality midfielder in the lineup as well. So yeah.
Adam, would you drop Aubameyang just for a game or two to take him out of firing line a little bit and help Balogun?
I would to give him a kick up the backside. But let me just put this question. Gary's on about the youngsters. Now, historically, going through Europa League, the group stages, many of the English teams do put the youngsters in. But then when it comes to the later stages, then they change it and put the first teamers in. Would Arsenal fans accept keeping the youngsters in just as far as they can go in that one competition? So when the better opposition comes, then the youngsters have that chance to take that step out.
No, I think very soon the Europa League is going to become the golden egg. We're going to throw everything into that Europa League if things continue this way. We're going to win probably the next 2 games. Then we're going to be into the last 32 and knockout stages. And it's going to be game on. The Europa League is going to be game on.
I understand that, but youngsters then take them to the last 32, and all of a sudden, all of them are dropped. What would that do for their confidence?
Well, tell me. I mean, based on what we saw today, so you're gonna drop players and put Bellerin, Xhaka, and Willian in. Expect to get something positive out of the game.
I'm just
We're
putting that
talking about the
possibility,
potential teams that we could be playing in those knockout rounds will be a lot better than Wolves.
Yeah.
Based on what we're
Really?
seeing
I-
we're seeing in the Champions League, we're going to see some
Leicester
teams.
City.
I mean, we're seeing some good teams that could drop down, right, based on what's going on. So that part, so I don't, maybe they get the experience. I mean, I think it all depends on your manager, right? I mean, if he, yeah, I don't know if we would see much difference, right? Because if they're not playing that well against, Leeds and the Wolves, how are they going to do against some of these other teams playing in the knockout round, where there's a lot more on the line there, especially for teams that might need to make the run to the final there as well. So,
And yeah, Tony, if you're going to rest Aubameyang, of course you're going to give the captain's armband to somebody else on the team. You have to have a captain on the field. If Aubameyang's not playing, Gary.
Yeah, and I the reason why I'm not in my head is because I fear where that band's going.
You think it's going to Xhaka?
I think he'll find a way to put it on his arm, and then get him to play. I wouldn't be surprised if he sat Partey just so he could get soccer on the field to give him the band. That's where my mind is going right now. I mean,
if you're thinking about like who's been clubbed the most, would be Bellerin.
Who what?
Bellerin.
The most. He's been the club the longest, right? Bellerin has.
In seniority, Bellerin, Hector Bellerin.
I see no difference between him and Xhaka, though.
Right.
That's where I feel it needs to go to somebody like, I mean,
Tierney.
Yeah, Tierney, even Gabriel, because I mean, Gabriel is a leader back there. He's leading that back line. Luis comes in, he's still directing Luis where to go. Mustafi leading them, Holding leading them. Where else on the pitch do you see another player who's leading his teammates?
Yeah, and Gabriel has more goals from open play than Aubameyang, and the same amount of league goals from two goals, and Aubameyang's sitting on 2 goals in the league as well. Gary, it's very poor state of affairs.
This chat room is scaring me.
In which way?
Well, Partey.
What about him? Partey will miss at least 2 or 3 games, out for 5 games. Okay, this is news that's coming through now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just like they're trying to upset us and not that it's coming from a big source.
I've got about 25 more minutes, so we're going to have some more therapy session for everyone here. Hope you all forget it. Let's go through the game a little bit. So Arsenal came into the game 8 hours without a Premier League goal from open play. Well, we got one in Gabriel. Let's talk about the high point. You want to start with the high points, Gary. Gabriel's goal, a good response to going 1 goal behind. Willian crosses from the right, and Gabriel, with his shirt being pulled, was able to outmuscle the player and get a header into the net.
Yeah, and the defensive player had a big handful of his jersey, and it still didn't matter, which is nice to see. I mean, should have gotten a call there, but we got the goal, so I'll take that. That's what Gabriel does. I mean, that's puts himself in situations, and we get some positive things out of it. We did today.
Would you be confident if he didn't score there, we would have gotten the penalty?
No, I don't think we would have got the penalty.
So, Alonso, a quick word about Gabriel this season. I think Tony said player of the season. I'm sure Tony would give him player of the season so far. And player of the match, for me, player of the match today.
Yeah, there was no question that he's been our best player the whole season. And we're very lucky to have him. I didn't think that he started the first game of the season, but he seemed ready to, and he was up for it. And I think he's going to be considered for captaincy moving forward. So he's very important for us. He communicates very well. obviously we didn't know what we were getting out of him when we first signed him, but it's been very massive and very important for us, and
Mhm.
we're very lucky to have him. And I'm thinking that he's probably thinking, I came into a shit show really, because I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we're not great right now, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, he's a good player, a great player.
Adam.
Yeah, disregarding that, with Gabriel, I think he's a tremendous signing. Fair play. And for any Arsenal fan out there who says no player have improved under Arteta, well, Gabriel is a shining example that is just a myth. Can I just also come back to
Or maybe
that
he
part?
came to us. Maybe he came to us this good. It's only been a few months.
Well, his valuation has shot
Yeah.
through the roof.
A good
since he's
find.
come to Arsenal.
Definitely.
Can I also do a comment about Partey?
Yeah.
I don't know how many Arsenal fans realise, but Partey was actually injured when he was signed for Arsenal. He did miss quite a few games at the start of the Spanish season over here for Atletico Madrid before the transfer. So, it was always going to be a stop-start kind of beginning for his Arsenal career.
Yeah. On Russ's question, at this point, I would not take Pochettino. I'm not going to entertain this until the summertime at least, unless things get very, very bad, Gary.
Well, I'm looking at the schedule here, trying to figure out how we even get to a point where we see some, some good improvement, some wins maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the Europa League, we have Burnley. That's it that I see here. Burnley we play in like mid-December. Then after that, it's Southampton, then Everton, then Man City, then Chelsea, and then we get a break at the end of the year when we play Brighton and West Brom. So in the next like 10 games, we have maybe 3 games that maybe that we probably have a good chance to win in the Premier League. That's the scary part. Because if you thought we were struggling in the first 10, right? With these next 10 are against teams that are in the same position as us in terms of wanting to move up the table and have improved from what we can tell. That's the scary part,
On the flip side of that, Gary, they did have bad results leading into a January transfer window. Would the board panic and start spending the cash in January? Which would then be ahead of yourself regarding transfers in?
I thought they should have spent in the summer. That's where I thought, because I looking at the team makeup, I always thought, if you're going to spend, now's the time to spend when teams are struggling, and you probably could get a better deal than you would have.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I always thought they should have bought 2 big-time players in the summer window when teams were looking to make some money because they knew they were going to be struggling. As it gets closer and closer to what people think is the end of the shutdown and the fans and all of that, they're not going to be willing to take those cut rate prices for their players.
No, I agree on that. Unfortunately, in the summer, no one knew when this COVID would end.
Yeah.
People are on about 2-3 years without fans.
Well, yeah, that's some of the scary stuff you hear is that some people are like it's a 2-year. It's going to be 2 years until we're back to some sort of normalcy. But like I said, I always thought with what was going on, it was easy to spend that money. If you're going to spend it in the summer when teams know, look, we're not going to have fans in the stands, and we don't know when they're going to be back. There was
a relaxing of the FFP rule as well in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Stan and his wigs made a lot of money over this whole thing, so he had an extra cash he could have thrown to Arsenal, no problem.
Yeah,
but so I think the problem with that whole thought is that I don't believe they have the management to do the right thing with that money. Right, that's my problem with it. I don't feel like there's a good strong management team behind Arteta that will make the right decisions and pick the right players. Because do we need to spend a lot of money on Alwar and Szoboszlai when maybe we can buy some other players that we know are going to be that are in the Premier League, maybe sitting in the Champions League that may actually suit us better for what we want. We want somebody who can come in and play
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I agree.
See, that's the
Well,
part.
it's like that Austrian league. You got that
Okay,
Milan
then,
or
Alonso.
whatever from Liverpool. He hasn't done anything, has he?
See, that's part.
Yeah, quick shout out, Alonso. No, it gets you. Quick shout out for Roman Grosjean. Was a terrible crash in Formula One, but he survived. Hit head on into the rails. Flash of fire. He was able to get out. So testament to the technology there. And we all remember when Senna died. And then
Absolutely.
comment down below. I don't know if you're looking for Arsenal. This is the Arsenal Therapy podcast. We don't do general therapy. It's just Arsenal football related. But if you're in Thailand or you're an Arsenal supporter, share the link and get us out there around Thailand. And
There's probably other things you can do in Thailand to sort out if you need therapy, you know.
5 a.m. in the morning. If you stayed up for the last 2 hours watching that, fair play to you. Alonso, you wanted to get in?
Yeah, so we always talking about getting players from different leagues and all that stuff. When was the last time Arsenal bought a player from a rival team in the Premier League? It's been quite a long time, and so we're always selling to rival clubs, right? So why can't we just have our scouting team look at players in the country, in England, instead of Spain, France, wherever else, and it's mind-boggling on why we can't get those players in and help them improve.
I'm just thinking back, it was probably Theo Walcott in 2006 from Southampton.
It's been quite a while, right? So why not take that risk? And it's kind of shocking, actually.
Yeah. No, really. Not really.
Unfortunately, it's all about money, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's an English tax on buying Premier League proven players.
One other thing we got to do is wish Jimenez a speedy recovery. He had a nasty collision with David Luiz, and David Luiz as well. Hopefully he's doing okay. Let's go through the goals. It's going to be a little bit painful then. The Traore skins Tierney on the left side, crosses the ball to Dendoncker. And Donker hits the crossbar, and Neto scores from the rebound. Gary,
I mean, we should have players around that ball. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's the same old thing. I mean, we're all seem to be running away from the ball when it comes off, and we're not attacking it. And we saw that. I mean, you look at. Both goals look the same in the sense of where we were in terms of where the ball was. We were absorbing a lot, and that eventually the ball is going to get through, right? We're absorbing a lot of pressure, not being able to take off that pressure with our forward movement. Eventually, it was going to come back to haunt us, and it did. I mean, the percentage of possession wasn't big, but it was enough that they were continually putting pressure on us coming towards our goal, and that's kind of what happened there. I mean, yeah.
Alonso, what was your take on the Wolves goal? We go goal down in 27 minutes, and they just seem to react to that second ball quicker than us. That's the malaise that we're in.
So right, I didn't see that first half.
All right, no problem. Gary and I can go through the second goal, because if you're looking at the reactions of the Wolves team, Gary, they scored a goal against, I think, Palace, rebounded off the upright. He's right on it to volley it in. These players are just quicker to the ball than we were, and you can see that no more clearly than in the second goal, where Traore goes past Xhaka in midfield. He plays a through ball to Neto. And, it's unlucky Neto's shot takes a slight deflection off Bellerin. But Podence is quickest to the ball to clean up.
Once again, like you said, we're always second fiddle when it comes to getting to those balls. Those the bounces, any 50-50 ball, we're never attacking it, and that's how they got their goals today. It wasn't from, it wasn't one-time shots that went in. It was after the shot was returned back that they were able to jump on it, and that's when the ball's in the box as a defense, you have to be, doing anything you can to make sure that ball doesn't go in. Our team does not do that. They're not fighting tooth and nail to get to that ball and attack it, and clear it out of there. I mean, that's when we're talking. I guess if you're talking down tool, you're talking down tooling. That's what it looks like. You just, I mean, it's 1-1 at that point, and the ball's in the box. We've got more players in the box than they do. They're the only ones attacking the ball.
Yeah.
They're the only ones attacking the ball. We're running away from it. We're backing out of the box. What? You're back.
Yeah. And another tying into my notes earlier, we can go to Alonso and Adam as well. I said not one player willing to tackle. You didn't see any Arsenal players going to ground tackling players, Alonso. Too passive. We were too passive. We let them breeze past us.
I don't know what Arteta's coaching them to do, and as players, if you lose a ball, you would have at least some kind of fight to win it back. And they didn't do that either. So, I don't know if it's like too passive or just players not willing to fight for the ball anymore. And like I said, it all comes to accountability and the actions that they take forward, and to me, Xhaka doesn't play his role like he should, he's not brave enough, a lot of these players aren't brave enough to fight for a ball or win the ball back, and so they give up, and this is still, it doesn't make sense to me on why there's no urgency until the very last minutes of the game where you're having to cross the ball, and then it gets canceled out, and there's no, it's just frustrating.
All right, folks, we have to leave it there unless anyone has 30 seconds to wind it up. Final thoughts. I hope it's helped everybody. Usually it helps to talk, right, Gary?
Definitely, and on Thursday we will have a game, and we will look much better in it. We're gonna have hopefully all the youngsters. I don't want to say. I said to U23s. I'm saying U22s now. Anybody 22 and younger gets to play. None of these old guys. I don't want anybody who's played for like 5 years. Nah, play all the youngsters. I want to see what they can do, because I'm not seeing good things from those that are older. I mean, anybody that's recovering, Chambers can play, right? We need him. If he's healthy, Marie, if he's healthy, he gets to play because we need him back. But otherwise, nobody who played today should be on the team sheet. I mean, will we see Aubameyang going forward? I don't know. He does need a break. He does need he needs to recharge somehow, or they need to come up with a better plan. I don't want to put too much pressure on Arteta, but that's what's happening. He's got a lot of pressure on him. And
the pressure is only going to increase now, and we hope that. I never want to be in this situation. I'm an Arsenal fan first and foremost. I'm doing these podcasts not for financial gain, and this is our hobby. We get together.
I want my commission if you are doing it.
Yeah. James, I will leave the link next week when we're live. I'll leave a spot for you. You can join us pre-game and post-game. And yeah, I think we're all a little bit worried about that Tottenham game next week. I don't usually say Derby's form goes out the window, Gary, but I don't know if we have any form.
I don't know what that form looks like. I mean, just looking at Steve Dunham's quote about the boxing fight this weekend, and it was like two uncles out there fighting, and that was I don't know if that's what we saw today. We didn't really see it. We saw it on our end, I think, but we didn't see it on the other end. They actually looked like they could they were going to get there first, and they did every time. But like I said, Thursday's a game. Hopefully we see a lot of these injuries, a lot of these players get back healthy. Luis, hopefully he's feeling better. I don't expect to see him for a week or two. Jimenez, hopefully he's up and at it again soon. That was a little scary part of the game there.
Yeah,
Jimenez
definitely.
stoppage, so hopefully he's back. Yeah, I mean, some were saying that we were lucky he didn't even get to continue in the game because he was, he would have been one of those players right there in the middle when those balls came back and probably put it away as well. So I think, hopefully he's back playing again. That was a little scary.
All right, we have another game on Thursday. We'll have another podcast on Thursday. Thanks, Barry, for coming, Alonso. Great to have you again, Alonso. And Adam, thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
I hope if anyone's watching this, share the links around. Pick a video you like, share it on your stream. Get some people involved. Bring them over here to Arsenal Fan Circle. And we had our therapy session. Hopefully it helped, and we will see you guys on Thursday. Come on, you Gunners, up the Arsenal, and someday our cycle will come. Our time will come. We will start winning games again.